The fighter jet costs 115 million euros, the bribe costs 7 million euros, the newspaper that doesn't report on it, priceless. Meet the Dassaults, France's military-industrial family who built supersonic jets, bought the press that covers them, and perfected the art of selling weapons while appearing perfectly respectable. Their story starts not with the roar of jet engines, but with the scratch of a pencil. Marcel Bloch, a Jewish engineer with a knack for propeller design, found himself sketching aircraft components in 1916 as German planes rained bombs in Paris. His early wooden propellers gave French World War I fighters the edge they desperately needed, a harbinger of the innovation that would later redefine European aerospace. But talent attracts attention, both welcome and unwelcome. By 1944, Marcel's refusal to collaborate with Nazi occupiers landed him in Buchenwald concentration camp. The Gestapo offered him a simple choice: design weapons for the Reich or face execution. He chose potential death over certain betrayal. The gamble paid off. After liberation in 1945, he emerged from imprisonment emancipated but resolute, changing his name from Bloch to Dassault, derived from Dassault, his brother's resistance codename, and launching what would become France's premier aerospace company. His timing proved impeccable. As Europe rebuilt from war's ashes, Dassault recognized the coming Cold War would fuel military spending for decades. He cultivated a relationship with rising political star Charles de Gaulle. This political acumen transformed a modest aircraft workshop into an industrial titan. When de Gaulle returned to power in 1958, Dassault Aviation secured its defining contract, the Mirage 3 fighter jet. This supersonic delta-wing marvel became France's calling card in the global arms bazaar, with 1,422 units sold across 20 countries. Secret documents from French Ministry of Defense, declassified in 2015, reveal Marcel's cunning behind the Mirage's success. He designed the aircraft to be simpler and cheaper than American equivalents, making it irresistible to nations seeking military prestige without Pentagon-sized budgets. By the time Marcel died in 1986, his company name adorned aircraft defending nations from Israel, Peru, Australia to South Africa. Mirage jets alone had generated over 20 billion euros in today's money. Not bad for a man who once sketched propellers in a Parisian apartment with the windows rattling from German bombs. His son, Sergei Dassault, inherited more than just a company. He received the blueprint for a dynasty. While his father built jets, Sergei built an empire spanning aviation, media, real estate, and software. The foundation remained military contracts, but Sergei recognized the volatility of defense spending. His masterstroke came in doubling down on the Falcon business jet program, which catered to the growing class of global executives who considered first-class commercial travel beneath their status. By 2000, Falcon jets accounted for 35% of Dassault's aviation revenue, a crucial diversification as Europe defense budgets contracted after the Cold War. But Sergei's ambitions stretched beyond manufacturing. The 2004 acquisition of Le Figaro, France's most prestigious conservative newspaper, for 70 million euros raised controversy among media watchdogs. Their concerns proved warranted. Within months, the paper's coverage of French defense procurement shifted noticeably. A study by Paris-Sorbonne University found that critical reporting on the Rafale fighter program dropped by 67% after the acquisition. The family's reach extended into real estate, with holdings that included much of Corbeil-Essonnes, a Paris suburb where Sergei would later serve as mayor. Court documents revealed the family owned 85% of commercial properties and 40% of residential buildings in the town, creating a modern feudal dominion just 30 kilometers from the Eiffel Tower. Sergei proved equally talented at leveraging government connections. When Nicolas Sarkozy rose to presidency in 2007, Le Figaro provided fawning coverage while Dassault Aviation received 5.6 billion euros in new defense contracts over the next 5 years. Not even France's stringent inheritance taxes could slow down the family's accumulation of wealth. Through a complex network of holding companies based in Switzerland and Luxembourg, documented in the 2016 Panama Papers leak, the Dassault fortune passed between generations with minimal fiscal friction. The fighter jet deal that launched 1,000 lawsuits began with a phone call between two prime ministers in 2015. India's Narendra Modi personally negotiated with France's François Hollande, bypassing standard procedure protocols for direct government go-to-government agreements to purchase 36 Rafale fighter jets for 7.8 billion euros. What raised eyebrows wasn't the price tag. Military hardware has never been cheap, but the mysterious vanishing of the offset requirements. Previous negotiations had mandated Dassault invest 50% of the contract value back into Indian defense companies. After Modi's intervention, Dassault's obligation shrank while per-unit costs swelled by 29 million euros. The numbers didn't add up. The Indian National Congress calculated a 1.3 billion euro unexplained premium compared to prices offered in earlier negotiations. Money doesn't simply disappear in defense contracts, it changes hands. Documents leaked to French investigative outlet Mediapart in 2021 revealed a network of shell companies and consultant fees connected to the deal. The trail led to Sushan Gupta, an Indian middleman who allegedly received 7.5 million euro from Dassault from a Mauritius-based shell company just months before the final contract signing. French anti-corruption NGO Sherpa didn't find it normal. They filed suit against Dassault in 2022, alleging the company violated France's Sapin II anti-corruption law. The case remains active, with French prosecutors focusing on whether Dassault executives knew or should have known that their payments would have been used to influence Indian officials. The scandal prompted an awkward situation at home. President Emmanuel Macron, whose campaign received substantial donations from Dassault-affiliated businesses, found himself defending a deal negotiated by his predecessor while French prosecutors investigated the same transaction. India's Supreme Court dismissed petitions challenging the procedurement in 2019, citing lack of jurisdiction over policy decisions. Interestingly, the court never examined the actual contract documents, which remained classified despite portions leaking to media outlets. Meanwhile, the Rafale jets arrived in India with much fanfare. The aircraft performed beautifully in test flights, their technological capabilities never in question. For Dassault, the controversy barely dented their bottom line. By 2023, Dassault Group reported annual revenue of 24.8 billion euros, with aviation representing 60% and the remainder coming from media, Le Figaro, software, Dassault Systems, auction houses, vineyards, and real estate holdings stretching from Paris to Geneva. Coincidentally, around 2017, allegations emerged that Dassault Aviation paid commissions to secure the 7.8 billion euro Indian fighter jet deal. Not covering such news might seem unusual for France's leading conservative newspaper, except that Le Figaro had been owned by the Dassault family since 2004. A study by French media watchdog Crime documented 37 cases between 2005 and 2022 where Le Figaro's coverage of Dassault-related businesses differed markedly from other major French newspapers. The pattern was consistent. Positive coverage of new contracts, minimal reporting on controversies, and strategic silence on corruption allegations. Contrast this with Le Monde's coverage of the same deal, which dedicated its front page to questions about Qatari officials receiving hospitality from Dassault executives at luxury hunting estates in France. Le Figaro's newsroom has not surrendered without resistance. In 2018, the paper's Union of Journalists released an open letter expressing concern about increasing pressure to soften coverage of issues where the owner has financial interest. 11 reporters have resigned since 2015, citing editorial interference in Dassault-related stories. The paper remains France's largest right-leaning daily, with a circulation of 360,000 as early as 2025. Its business section provides detailed coverage of French corporate affairs, except when those affairs involve companies sharing the same letterhead as the publisher. When Laurent Dassault, Sergei's son, faced questioning by financial prosecutors in 2020 regarding tax arrangements in Luxembourg, readers of Le Figaro would have known nothing about it. The story appeared in Le Monde, Libération, and even made international outlets like the Financial Times, but received zero mentions in Le Figaro. The arrangement has proved profitable for both sides of the Dassault empire. The newspaper gives the family a respected voice in French politics, while generating 90 million euro in annual revenue, while Dassault Aviation benefits from favorable coverage or strategic silence regarding its global business practices. While we're at it, let's cover the helicopter wreckage that scattered across a Norman field on March 7, 2021. This incident symbolized more than just Olivier Dassault's tragic end. The 69-year-old heir, pilot, photographer, and billionaire legislator had been the family's most charismatic member, the polished face for press events and parliamentary connections. His death triggered the first public cracks in the dynasty's unified front. Laurent Dassault, his younger brother, moved to consolidate control of the family holding company that manages their 62% stake in Dassault Aviation. Their sister, Marie-Helena, publicly objected, filing court documents that revealed decades of simmering tension over succession planning. Court filings unveiled a family agreement signed in 2016 that gave Olivier effective veto power over major decisions, a power Laurent now claimed for himself. Cousins from the extended family challenged the arrangement, creating the first genuine succession crisis since Marcel founded the company. Of course, the timing couldn't be worse. Dassault's aviation stock tumbled 18% in Q1 2024, driven by concerns over the Rafale's diminishing competitive edge. Sweden's Saab Gripen E now undercuts the French fighter by 30 million euros per unit while matching most performance metrics. Meanwhile, the UAE suspended a planned order of 40 Rafales, citing technical performance concerns during desert testing. The family's diversification strategy similarly shows stress fractures. Le Figaro's circulation has dropped 12% since 2020 as younger readers abandon print media. Dassault Systems, the software division, faces stiff competition from American tech giants investing heavily in aerospace design tools. The next generation of Dassaults lacks the unified vision that defined their predecessors. Olivier's children, Helena, Remy, and Justine, have pursued careers in fashion, wine, and art rather than aerospace or media. Laurent's son Thierry reportedly clashed with the board over modernizing the company's approach to export controls. The company still has momentum. A 15 billion euro order backlog guarantees production through 2027, but without Olivier's political finesse or a clear succession plan, the question isn't whether Dassault's empire will continue, but in what form. The Dassault saga stands as capitalism's perfect contradiction. A family that built flying marvels while mastering legal loopholes, all while under the banner of French patriotism. They created machines that broke the sound barrier while their accountants broke every conventional limit on wealth accumulation. Their true innovation wasn't Delta Wings or digital cockpits. It was the creation of a business ecosystem where government contracts funded R&D, taxpayers absorbed risks, and private accounts in Singapore collected the rewards. But what do you think? Does national security justify corporate impunity? Can family-controlled defense contractors ever be properly regulated? Should media ownership by defense contractors be banned? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos, it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching.